Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Cup of Calm, where I am joined by our guest Aldwyn Altuney, and we're going to get into Aldwyn in a moment, but I just want to welcome you all and thank you for being here. We all know that Cup of Calm is all about inspiration, motivation. It's all about uplifting our wonderful vibes and being in a state of positivity, and that's what my goal is, what my aim is, to bring a cup of calm into your beautiful space. So I hope you have your cup of calm while we dive deep into Aldwyn's story. We're here to inspire each other, share each other's story, and who knows what type of ripple effect this will have, not only in your life, but those around you. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Aldwyn. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sheb. It's so great to be here. And I love the whole concept of cup of calm. I think we all need a bit more calm in our lives, particularly with all the chaos that's out there. And loved our interview we did yesterday on how to be calm amongst the chaos, which is so cool. So if you missed that, check out Media Queen TV and the interview I did with Sheb yesterday. You can see it on Facebook and
Amazing.
YouTube.
So Aldwyn has an interesting story. Now, Aldwyn has overcome all kinds of adversity from anxiety, from depression, suicidal ideation, and I'd love to be able to share this story with you, especially those of you who are currently going through a difficult time. And Aldwyn's going to share some tips, some strategies on how she was able to overcome her story and create a new story that's more fulfilling. So tell us a bit about yourself, Aldwyn. Who is Aldwyn?
Thank you so much, Sheb. Yes, Aldwyn Altuney. It's quite an unusual name, which is why Media Queen is a lot easier to remember. And I do recommend, if you have a unusual name or a hard name for people to get their head around, that you consider your branding online. So my story is I actually was born in Sydney as a first-generation Australian. If you're wondering where the unusual name comes from, I have Greek, Turkish, and Ukrainian heritage, which is quite a mix, considering all three countries were at war with each other. We had Russia, Ukraine are at war now, which once upon a time was all Russia. So Russia and Turkey and Greece were all at war with each other, and I have all of them in my bloodline. And I often joke and say, my parents had make-up sex, and here I am, I'm the love child now from all three countries. It just goes to show that, you can definitely turn hard times into better times, into easier times. And, we have the DNA of 7 generations in us. And in my bloodline, interestingly, my great-grandparents were kulaks in the Ukraine. And what happened when Stalin took over in the Ukraine back in the early 1900s, they actually killed off 30,000 kulaks. And kulaks, if you look it up, Kulaks, kulaks were actually rich landowners or farmers. And my great-grandparents had a farm about an hour out of Kiev. And what happened is Stalin's men turned up at their doorstep one day and they said, "Get off your land." They said, "Where are we going to go?" It was minus 20 degrees outside, if you can imagine how cold that is. And they said, "We've got nowhere to go. Where are we going to go?" And they actually took them out the front of their house and they hung them out the front of their house. And then their son was in another part of the Ukraine at the time and started to speak up against the government, started to speak up in anger about what had happened. And then his friends came to him and said, "You better now get out of here." His name was Ivan Oskilko was my granddad, my dad's dad. They said, "You better get out of here now. You're speaking against the government. They're coming to kill you too." And so he ran away to Turkey and met my dad's mum, who was Greek, hence the Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian heritage. And, interestingly, with all of us have scientifically the DNA of 7 generations. It's interesting that in my bloodline, I have people that were killed for stepping up and running for their life for speaking up. And that's exactly what I help people do now, is help people step up and speak up. However, it hasn't been an easy journey. And, my dad really grew up in poverty in Turkey. He had one pair of shoes till he was 12 years of age. And so even though he had quite wealthy parents on his father's side was wealthy, he never knew his dad as a kid. And he grew up with his mum, who couldn't read or write. And so he grew up in adverse poverty. However, he worked his butt off. He was never accepted in Turkey because he was a Christian in a Muslim country, and he was called infidel at the time. So that was something that was really hard for him, growing up as, you know, someone whose name was Michael or Michelle. They call him Michelle. And, you know, he was a blonde kid in Turkey, so he stood out in Iskenderun on the south part of Turkey. And whereas mum was from a more wealthy side in Turkey, and when they married, Dad actually got a visa. At the time, they were taking into Australia skilled migrants.
Yes.
And so he came in as a skilled migrant. He ended up working his butt off, became a civil engineer, migrated to Sydney in 1970, and I was born in 74. However, as a first-generation Australian, I was bullied as a kid. I never felt I belonged. I never felt seen or heard growing up in the Northern Beaches area of Sydney. We were talking about this on the show yesterday. You were in the Southern Beaches in Sutherland. I was in Northern Beaches in Sydney. And it was a very big Anglo-Saxon area. So they hadn't seen many people from Europe. They didn't really understand different cultures. At the time, there was a lot of racism, and there was a lot of people saying, oh, people are coming from other countries and taking our jobs and things like that. So there was a lot of sort of discrimination. And it was around sort of romper stomper days in the 80s, and there was a lot of racism also in Melbourne. You know, thankfully now a lot of that has changed, and now we've become a lot more accepting of people from other cultures. However, growing up as a first generation Aussie at North Bagala Public School, at the time, people picked on me all the time, and I always wanted a normal name. My middle name's Mary, and I just always wanted to be called Mary growing up, and it was a really difficult time. And another thing at the time growing up, my dad watched the news every single night. He loved watching the news, not just one channel of news. He would watch multiple channels of news. He would go from one channel to the next, and 2 hours of negative news every night, 99% negative news. I ended up really upset often. You know, one night I was in tears after watching the news, and I went to Dad and I said, why are people so cruel? Why is the world like this? And he hugged me. He said, darling, he said, that's just how the world is. Wow. And that's how I believe the world was for years. And actually at 6 years of age, we then went back to Turkey. My parents actually went back for the first time in 10 years. They went back to Iskenderun, and there was a big sheep at my grandma's place in Iskenderun. And I remember befriending this really big sheep. And one day I was so excited. We're taking the sheep out for a walk. It was a sunny day, big green field. The family was all having a great time. I'm hugging the sheep, walking with the sheep. Next thing I know, these three guys grabbed the sheep from next to me. They dragged it onto a block in front of me. They pulled out a big knife and they cut the sheep's throat in front of me. However, it did not die quickly. It was squealing trying to get away. It was a horrendous. It was a horrendous thing at 6 years of age. There is a positive. There is always a positive to every negative, right? So just hang in there, right? There's you want to hear the story, right? This is part of the story, is that I saw this sheep get slaughtered before me. And I didn't realize it was a Greek Orthodox tradition that when family come from a long way away, they sacrifice a sheep and they feed the meat to the poor village people. Yeah. I had no idea as a six-year-old. Even if that was explained to me, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known what was going on. I would have said, let's just, I just want to live happily ever after with my sheep, So that was where really my innocence was lost, and I became very angry with the world, and my dad said anger is danger. And so what happened is I internalized my anger for years, which led to depression. And it was actually a long time after that, and through table tennis, I found a release for my aggression, and I used to just beat the hell out of the ball. Dad introduced me to table tennis at 8 years of age, and then I ended up representing Australia for 6 years in table tennis, and featured in the media at age 10, which is where my fascination with the media started. And I was on Cartoon Connection on Channel 7 in front of 2 million people at age 11, and did a radio show at 13, and then worked in the media, did a media degree, and worked in the media for over 20 years after that. So looking back at that sheep incident now, through the years, there's been so many times I've seen animal cruelty, and I haven't known what to do about it. And one great way to actually impact that is actually to get a story out in the media about something that you're either upset by or angered by. So I would write stories about things that angered me. So that sheep, now I look back at that sheep that was sacrificed, and by the way, millions of sheep get killed every year, right? This is just that I connected with that sheep. My brother was 2 years older than me. He didn't connect with that sheep. So I look back at that sheep now, and I'm so grateful for that, because now I see that sheep as a massive mascot for the animal action work I've done. And in 2007, I set up the world's first Animal Action Day, and it's a day of awareness, appreciation and respect for animals, where every year we've had a different animal cause that we've raised money for each year, and it's all about awareness, appreciation, respect for animals, and it's all about encouraging everyone to just do something for animals. So that's been a really big passion project for me, and that beautiful sheep, now I think about that sheep often.
It was a catalyst for you to create that change.
Yeah, it was a catalyst. So see, with every negative, with every
That's right.
every low point, there's always a lesson there, there's always some learning, there's always, you know, and particularly if it's, you know, with every big breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. So it's, you know, it's actually recognizing that. Sometimes it can take years to see what that is, right? Sometimes, you know, that was massive for me growing up.
That is incredible, and it just goes to show how a little incident at such a young age can impact your life in such, not only just your life, but those around you in a significant way. So I can't imagine what that would have been like for you at that age. But here you are now with multiple, you have some ongoing, you know, sponsoring, and you're kind of doing lots of things around the back, aren't you? Because recently you were raising some funds for, you were selling some calendars out there, and that was for a cause, an animal shelter. So there's, you know, through that adversity to then come out with these ideas and advocate for the wellness of these poor animals who've got absolutely no voice. And now here you are, you know, being their voice for them. So empowering. I can't imagine how empowering that must be for you.
Well, it feels really good to know that we can actually make a difference, because sometimes with things we're passionate about, sometimes they seem like such big issues. Like, you know, I used to often think about different animal cruelty cases. I think, what the hell can I do? What can I do as little old me to make a difference? And whether it's, you know, domestic violence or whatever it is you're passionate about, there's always something we can do to make a difference. And this is where the Animal Action event started in 2007. And you know, it took a few more points after that. You know, it wasn't just the sheep, there was also other animal cruelty cases I saw, and then I saw the Earthlings Dvd. That was a really huge turning point. Fantastic documentary called Earthlings, which you can see online. It's all about how humans have treated animals over time, how we've used them for food, clothing, scientific research, and it was really hard to watch. I was literally holding my throat and crying by the end of this documentary. And a lot of people say, I can't watch that, I can't, you know, however, it was in being shocked watching it that I was like, okay, now's the time. I've really got to do something now. You know, this is now, you know, I have to do something, but I still didn't know what to do. And so then I did a landmark course, right? I did a 3.5-month program called Self-Expression Leadership Program. And the whole idea of that program was actually to go out in the community and do something you're passionate about. And, you know, you might have heard of Clean Up Australia Day, Red Nose Day, Are You OK Day. So they're all people that actually did this exact same course. So I sat there thinking, okay, and I was actually one of the last people to come up with something to do. I thought, well, I want to do an event for animals. I want to do something for animals. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I thought, well, I'll just do a fun day, and I'll just encourage everyone to just take some action for animals, whether it's signing a petition against whaling or whether it's having your pet washed, you know, whatever it is. If we all just do something for animals, then we'll make a bigger difference. And that was the whole concept. And then I thought, well, what do I call it? And I played with a few names being a journalist, and I came up with Animal Action Day, and I searched it. There was no other Animal Action Day anywhere in the world, so I thought, fantastic, Animal Action Day, we'll call it that. And we thought, and then what do we stand for? Awareness, appreciation, respect for animals. So our very first event, we had a free event with about 30 performers and speakers here on the Gold Coast. We actually did 7-day events, and we had all sorts of different animal charities that came along. We raised millions of dollars worth of free publicity for the different animal charities. And then we did 6-night events, which were Animal Action Night events. We focused on different animals. We did one for elephants, one for orangutans, one for horses. So we had different animals, big cats we did one year. And the last 2 years now we've done online events, and they've been Animal Action Nights for dogs. And so we had the Australian Firefighters calendar, and we've actually just finished the fundraiser now, which was for SEQ Canine Rescue. Yeah, fantastic calendar. Beautiful dogs in that calendar.
Lovely looking dogs.
Beautiful dogs, gorgeous. You can look at those dogs all day. and that's for SEQ Canine Rescue, an amazing charity based in Brisbane. And what they do is they rescue dogs from death row. They collect the dogs from the pounds, which usually if dogs are collected from the street and they're taken into council pounds, if they're not collected within 7 days, they're actually put down. And so this charity goes and collects them, rehomes them, and that's who we're raising funds for. So yeah, fantastic cause.
So here's what Aldwyn has done, if you haven't already picked up on the lesson. From something so adverse, something so disappointing at such a young age, she could have easily have turned that story into a depressive, a story of, you know, the whole mentality of feeling sorry for herself and playing that victim mentality. And I know there are a lot of people out there that play that mentality game. But rather than being in that state, she thought, well, what can I do instead? How can I make the situation better, not only for herself, but for others? And I dare say that through those actions, through those involvements, you've healed, would you say? Would you say you come from a place of healing?
Yes, and I have done a lot of work on myself too, mind you. I've invested at least $500,000 in my personal and business development since 2005, and I think that's been also very crucial because what I haven't shared is that while I got my aggression out in table tennis, I was also very self-destructive. And anger turned inwards, I heard many years later from a hypnotherapist, actually ex-boyfriend of mine was a hypnotherapist. He said anger turned inwards causes depression. And I thought, oh, well, that makes sense. Anger turned inwards. So I turned my anger inwards. I was very self-destructive. I got into drugs and alcohol at an early age. I was very rebellious. Everything my dad said to do, I would do the opposite. He kicked me out of home at 15. I went from ducks of my primary school to failing everything in year 11 at Mossman High School. And I moved into a household after he kicked me out with a drummer whose mum was an alcoholic, his sister was dealing drugs. Every night we were partying, and then there was a turning point, another turning point. Turning point was I saw my boyfriend sleep with my best friend in front of me.
Wow.
And in tears, I remember calling mum up saying, I can't handle this anymore, 6 months into that situation. And she said, come home. I went home. I then changed my environment. I changed schools from Mossman High School to Forest High School, worked my butt off and got into a media degree. So there was really quite a dip there in my teenage years. I went through a really tough time there, and I was drinking and smoking a lot, and I just really did not want to be here. And through the media though, through getting into that media degree and actually realizing I can make a difference, and I thought with every story I put out I can make a difference and help impact a life, I actually felt that it gave me purpose and it gave me something bigger to live for, and it gave me a sense of empowerment, of self-empowerment, that I can actually help shift what's going on in the world. And then I realized through personal development that hurt people, right? Hurt people. And if someone's being nasty to me, it's actually not about me at all. It's about them. Whereas I used to take everything to heart and be so sensitive to what people say. And so that bullying really impacted me as a child too. And I always wanted to fit in. And so I ended up fitting in with the misfits, with the foster kids and the people that were sort of off the rails. They were the kind of ones that I felt that I fit in with. And I realized that actually the grass is not greener on the other side. We think it's greener on the other side. And I came back home and I appreciated my parents like nothing else. Wow. And they're the most gorgeous people. You've met them. They have their 52nd wedding anniversary this year. Yes. They're adorable. Dad's 84, Mum's 77, and they've had all sorts of health issues that they are just so beautiful and loving. I'm so happy that they are my parents and that we have the most beautiful relationship now. That's amazing. I don't hold any guilt or shame towards what happened. What happened. And I think that's really important to get conscious to how we're feeling and how we're vibrating in life. Like Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, we are vibrating at different frequencies with different emotions. And I have learned to let go of any shame and guilt I've had around, about being kicked out of home and about because that was really hard for my dad to do, but being a very proud European father, he had his strict rules. He said, while you're in my house, these are my rules. And I was like, I'll do whatever I want, right? And so clearly that didn't work out too well. However, I'm still grateful for that situation, that I saw the other side, that actually made me appreciate what I did have.
Right. Yeah. And I can appreciate, I can sense that drive and that passion and that ability to just move forward and not only empower yourself but those around you. But if you could provide 1 or 2 tips for someone out there who could be going through something similar of that effect, what are some advice that you could provide?
Thank you, Sheb. Gosh, so much. Well, advice. Firstly, what are you grateful for today? It's a very simple question. What are you grateful for today? Okay, it's the quickest way I find to shift my state is actually, what am I grateful for today? I'm grateful to be here with you today. I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful that we live on the Gold Coast right now. Things can always be worse, my friends. And if you are feeling down in any way, you are not alone, okay? There's actually been 4 times the suicide rate since COVID, okay? There's a lot of people really doing it tough out there. And so the more we come back to gratitude and appreciate what we do have, the better our life is going to be, the better our experience of life is going to be, because it's all about what we choose to focus on, right? And the other thing I say is question everything. So get into gratitude, question everything. Do not believe everything you hear in the mainstream media, okay? I've worked as a journalist for over 20 years. I can tell you there are hidden agendas, there's media programming that happens, okay? And it's been happening for a long time, and you can watch the Out of Shadows documentary. I would recommend check that out. It is on Vimeo. You won't find it generally on YouTube because it's been taken off a lot of channels. And Out of Shadows was actually done by 2 guys in Hollywood, 2 stunt guys. They actually talked about the brainwashing that happens through Hollywood movies, through the media, the mass media. We have been brainwashed for years. And the very first line in this documentary is, why do we believe what we believe? Very, very powerful. If you want the link, let us know. We can pop it in the chat there. Out of Shadows, watch that, get educated. Also watch the Thrive documentaries. These are fantastic documentaries that talk about how powerful we are as human beings. We are incredibly powerful. These are positive documentaries. There's Thrive, the first version, and then Thrive 2 has just come out since COVID. That's been done by an American couple. That is incredibly powerful. So get educated, right? Question everything, get educated, right? Question everything, and also realize that anything is possible, and you are incredibly powerful. You are 1 in a billion just by being born, right? You've beat a billion
amazing.
Swimmers to get to the finish line. Well, depending how excited your parents were at the time. Okay, it's actually between 400 million swimmers to 1.2 billion swimmers. Okay, so I just say 1 in a billion, right? You're 1 in a billion just by being born. We are extraordinary, and we are here for a reason. You're watching this for a reason. Yes. And I suggest, if you are moved by something that you see in the world, if you are moved, if you're angered, you're saddened, you're moved in some way, then I suggest that look at that as a prompting, from source, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, right? There is definitely infinite power within and all around us, which you'll see in the Thrive documentary as well. This is all scientifically proven. Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness 100 years ago proved 99.9 and another 8/9% we are energy, frequency, and vibration. We are actually spaced out, right? When you actually really dig down, we are phenomenal, as you would understand. The quantum field, we are so powerful. And the powers that be, unfortunately, want to have people living in fear, because they can control people through fear, right? This is what they want. Unfortunately, there are very evil people in government and high up. Not everyone, of course. We've got some good people out there as well. However, it's important to get conscious to how you're doing life. Are you contracted or are you expanded? And this is where questioning everything is really important, and expanding your state and pondering, why do you believe what you believe? Why do you believe what you believe?
I totally agree. And if there is this certain urge within yourself that is seeking a form of expression or expansion, that might be a calling I had this idea for years, because I was introduced a couple of years ago where someone was introducing just random people off the street, sharing their story, taking a photo. I think it was a Facebook page called Honey, Humans of New York. And I felt super inspired by this idea, where I thought, what a wonderful idea, by sharing other people's story with the public and learning some tips, some strategies, and helping, you can't help but feel inspired, right? And so this is where this whole idea of a cup of calm came into play. So I thought, what a great idea. We can have a cup of calm, and we could sit here and chat, and I can, ignore the sun that's flashing in my eyes right now, but that's okay. It's all good.
You're getting vitamin D.
I'm tanning while I present this.
See, there's always another way to look at it.
So it's a perception, right? I can sit here and flip the lid, or I can embrace this light.
You may wish you had your sunglasses right now, but hey, we do what we do.
I may be cross-eyed right now, but it's okay. I've got this. We got this. Oh, it's so good to have a laugh. Isn't it? Laughter is truly medicine.
Yes, and actually, on the point of laughter, when you are in joy and gratitude, you're actually vibrating at 540 hertz, which is actually higher than love. Love is 528 hertz, so it's very good to laugh. And a great thing you can do if you're feeling down is put a comedy on the TV. I've been watching 2.5 Men lately. I love.
Thank you, son. Thank you, Clouds. Thanks for taking care of that.
Well, it's beautiful sunset here, I must say, over Broad Beach. It's gorgeous.
Right.
So get some comedy into you. Yeah, fantastic.
Anything that's uplifting. And, surround yourself with positive, uplifting people. It's really important. Your environment will determine where you are today, will determine your results, your outcome, how you think, how you feel, what type of emotions to focus on. So it's really important to surround yourself with those who are uplifting and positive, someone who's going to feed your soul, right? And how wonderful, we have a beautiful community here around the Gold Coast that's very uplifting and positive. And we see those people who seek the best in you, who see the best in you, right? If you have people out there that are putting you down, you may want to consider who you decide to spend your time with.
Yes.
Because we don't have a lot of time on this beautiful planet of Earth. So we may as well live in abundance, look at ways to help empower not only ourselves but others, whether it might be a charity, whether it might be helping your community. Do something that's going to help, help empower you.
Absolutely.
Find out what that mission is, what that purpose is. And it's okay that if you don't already know, because there will come a time when you seek what that is, that it will all of a sudden appear in the palm of your hands, right?
Yes, it may be there right now, actually, as Bob Proctor has in his video, How Do You Find Your Purpose? Do what you love every single day. It's on YouTube. Check it out.
That's right.
Do what you love as much as possible. And I love this cup of calm because peace is higher. When you're in peace, you're vibrating higher than love, joy, and gratitude. You're actually at 600 hertz. And when you're in enlightenment, it's the highest vibration you will feel as a human being, which is 700 plus. So this cup of calm, when you come to calm, and meditation is fantastic. Whatever that is for you, deep breaths, right? Focusing on what we can be grateful for, so many ways we can lift our vibration and find that calm, even amongst the chaos and the unexpected twists and turns of every day.
That's exactly right. And it's out there, folks. So I encourage you to go out there and seek what it is that you're seeking, because the chances are what you're seeking may be seeking you. And that's a quote who I can't think off the top of my head, but someone wise once said that.
I love that.
All right, some fun facts.
Fun
and fast facts. Ready?
Okay. All right.
Favorite food?
Mexican.
Ooh. Favorite holiday destination?
Whitsundays.
Nice. If you were a superhero, what would you be?
Oh, Wonder Woman, of course.
Why?
Because she's a stand for truth and justice, and she has wings and can fly. Well, she has a cape, right? She can fly and bound all over the place and create magic. I love Wonder Woman. Strong, powerful woman.
Favorite quote?
Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world.
Nice. Any last minute special suggestions, advice, words of wisdom from Aldwyn that you wish to share?
Yes, absolutely. Look, it's so important, I believe, to speak your truth in life. If you're not speaking your truth, potentially you are living a lie. Now, the number one regret of the aging is living a life not true to yourself. The more you step up with your message, with your product, with your service, the more you get yourself out there and share your story, the more you are lifting your vibration and all of those around you. So my biggest tip is to get over yourself if you have any fear of putting yourself out there, and actually step up with your truth and do your own research, of course, with everything. Speak up, step up, be seen, be heard, be known. The world needs more people who are stepping up right now, right? Not cowering down, more people that are stepping up. And so my biggest suggestion to you is to own your power. Own your power with calm and with peace, right? With cup of calm. Have your cup of calm at hand, and, and really access that beautiful power that is within and all around us. And you are supported on your journey, and just I encourage you to step into that love, that peace, that abundance that is all around and that is within you, and actually speak your truth. That's the biggest thing. And if you want more support on that journey, please connect with me at linktree/Aldwyn, linktr.ee/Aldwyn. We have a Global Good News Challenge every month. There's a free challenge you can participate in.
Amazing.
Facebook Live challenge where you share gratitude and good news, and we have ongoing events to help you do exactly that. So please reach out. We'd love to support you on that journey.
And feel free to post any questions or add Aldwyn on social media. I'm sure she wouldn't mind hearing from you, but if you have any questions, reach out to her or pop your questions. And if you are watching this or watching the replay, I would love to know what's one thing that you took away from this meeting, from our session today. I would love to know, and please feel free to share. Look, Aldwyn, thank you so much. This was so amazing. Lots of laughs and lots of words of wisdom, some amazing advice there, some strategies there that you could perhaps look at implementing and look at your own life and start to wonder, what is it that is your mission? What is it that you can do to help not only yourself but those around you? And that can have a ripple effect, and you just never know how far that could reach. And it only just has to start with one person. One person can make a big difference.
And that could be you right now,
That's
right?
right.
The world is waiting to hear from you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Sheb.
you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here. And as always, have a cup, have a sense of calm, and may that calmness spread with you for as long as you like, for as long as you like.
Forever.
Forever.
Yay.
Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
See
See ya.
you.
Bye.